Hey there folks, thanks for clicking by. If you don't know me, my name is Ryan Weber. I am the Student Ministries Director for Newark Community Church in Newark, California. The video that you have clicked on is a talk that I did to our junior high and high school group this summer, which is 2014, it's August right now. And this is honestly a subject that is not talked about enough in our church circle these days. It's a subject a lot of people don't want to because it's pretty awkward. So I decided to tackle it, and I took my best shot at it, and I got a pretty good response. So I figured I would put it out on video here, and you could take a look at it for yourself. Now, if you're a young person and you're looking at this video, listen very carefully, please. Because there are things in this video that there's some wisdom in here that honestly didn't come from me. And it could be very helpful for you. If you're a parent and you're watching this, feel free to use anything you would like. If you want me to email you the PowerPoints for this presentation, I can do that. Feel free to plagiarize it, or take your kid, park them in front of the computer and force them to watch it. I don't care. So if you have any comments, if you want to say anything, go ahead and type it down there. I'll try to respond to it. If you have any questions, let me know. And just a heads up, we had a technical problem at the end of it, and it cut off just the last couple minutes. So I'll come back and tell you what you missed. So thanks for clicking, and I'll see you soon. So show of hands, here's the awkward part. How many of you have had somebody other than me sit down with you and really discuss that? Really? Okay? Ish.
Oh, yeah. No.
Other than me. Okay. Alright, well great. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Now, I didn't do a talk next week, and I'm not going to do any for the rest of the summer. So this one's going to be long. If your chair happens to have a seatbelt, go ahead and put it on. If it doesn't, just grab it once in a while. You might need it, okay? This is going to be a long one, but bear with me, because things I tell you tonight just might save you a lot of trouble later on. I promise you that. Because I'll tell you something. The decisions you make around this subject right here, with the exception of the decision to become a Christian, could possibly be the most important decisions you make. And will have, I guarantee you, the most either good or bad consequences or effects on the rest of your life. There are lifelong decisions that you make in this department. And if you guys don't know what you're doing now, things are going to sneak up on you, and you don't want that. So when I was young, I was not always as awesome and studly and smooth as I am today. Okay? I couldn't talk to girls to save my life. The scariest thing in the world for me was asking a girl out. It was awful. Didn't know what I was doing, and therefore it didn't really do it. And in the culture that I grew up in, that is even more severe for you guys now, that's just about the most important thing out there. Who you're with, who likes you. How many girls you got chasing you around? How many guys you got chasing you around? The most important thing on earth. Well, I didn't have that. So guess what? I felt, what? Pick a word. Worthless? Not you, me. I felt worthless. And what? That leads you to some poor decisions. So finally down the road, I think I was 21, when someone finally started paying attention to me. But by then, I didn't know who I was, I didn't know where I was, I didn't know what I was doing, and I got into a relationship, and I ended up getting married for all the wrong reasons. I got married because of who I thought she made me. I got married because of the fact that I didn't even know who I was, because I was involved with this person, because I was scratching around looking for some kind of meaning or purpose in life, because all that mattered was who you're with. So up until then, I didn't matter, but what I didn't realize is that I didn't even know this person. And me and her did not get along. Not at all. It was the most ugly year of my life. I lost touch with all of my friends, didn't talk to my parents for a year and a half. I put a career on hold, I lost 2 jobs. It messed everything up. And I'll tell you what, 12 years later, there's still ripples from that today that I'm still having to clean up. And there's some that will never go away. Like I said, the decisions you make around this subject last for the rest of your life. So I tell you this that I stand on some kind of a foundation for this. If not because I know everything, but because I've done it the other way, and I can tell you all it doesn't work. So, here's what we're going to cover. Basically, I'm going to talk to you about what I believe is biblically sound as the proper pattern for establishing romantic relationships. I know. Get the giggles out. There'll be more coming. Believe me. And then we're going to talk about why the devil doesn't like that and what he does to try to mess it up. And by the devil, I mean him himself, his demons, the rest of the world, and your own sinful desires. All that wrapped up together wants to destroy what I'm going to talk about. Then we're going to talk about basically how to do it right. What are some principles you can learn? How can you make decisions ahead of time? What's your criteria for finding a date? All these things, okay? So listen very carefully and hang on to the seat. You need it. Okay, here we go. So, boundaries of dating for Christian teens, or Christian anyone, really. So here's the first thing. This summer I've been asking you this question. Who is Jesus to you? Jesus is my boss. Okay, if we're to be followers of Christ, we must let go of our ideas, understanding, urges, and entitlement to rule our own existence. That's a mouthful. You can read it again. Here's the thing. Are we willing to give control of our romantic life to Him tonight? Are you willing to let Christ be in control of what you do with your body, who you do it with, and when you do that? Right now. That's my challenge to you. So let's look at this. This is the plan. This is collected from what I believe is to be biblically sound reasoning, mixed with the culture that we live in. Now, historically, arranged marriages and all that is more common than what we do in the United States. But for you guys, I don't really see that as being reality. So, given the culture that we live in, there's a certain pattern that things go by that will both allow you to fit generally in, but also remain free from sin. So, here we go. The first step along the way is when you meet. That's simple. Now, as an aside, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these things don't count. Okay? These are people that you can say, I met you, I shook your hand, I might remember your name, might not, but that's the point when you say, hey, I met that person. I remember that guy, I know that girl, right? There you are. You've met people. I meet people all day. It's great. There's nothing exclusive about this. Okay. Next step along the way, you figure this out, you get to know people. This is where you meet people consistently, happen to be in the same place at the same time. You go here, you go there. Maybe even group dates would count in this, where no one's really together, but you're all out together, right? Doing things. This is when you're getting to know people. You're talking to people. You're figuring out what personalities you like, who you like to hang out with, who you don't. And this is basically the first stage of the dating. You're not dating. We're going to get into that. But this is where you're figuring out. You talk to you, I talk to you, you're getting to know people, figuring out what's around you. Okay, next one down the road. This is a date. Now we have to be very clear about what our terms are here. Because the world wants to come in and tell you that if you're dating, you're together. Statistically speaking, the world expects you to be in bed with each other by the third date. If you don't do that, it means you don't like the person. That's what's out there. I'm telling you, that's honest. And I'm telling you, that is a load of garbage. Throw it out. Forget it. Okay? A date is simply two people going somewhere together for the purpose of getting to know each other better on a more personal level. This is not an exclusive relationship. You can date multiple people at the same time. In fact, a lot of very well-respected Christian dating coaches suggest that you date 20-something people before you decide to be exclusive with anyone. Remember, you're not living together. You're not going to bed together. You're not exclusive. You're getting to know somebody. With your eye on perhaps getting to know them more exclusive level. It's never right in the middle of all this. Now, this is when you say, you know what, I like you a lot, I've gotten to know you enough, I would like to focus my energy on building a relationship with you. In order to explore the possibility, in the future, moving into something more serious. And what's after that? When you're engaged. Engagement is the time between deciding to get married and actually getting married. What if you knew that? Now, with everything up to here, again, you're not living together and you're not sleeping together. Don't do it. Okay. We'll get there. I don't want to get off on that yet. Okay. Now, the next one, obviously, is when you're married. Happily ever after, you hold hands and run down the aisle, people throw rice at you. And then, that's finally there. This right here is the time and the place when this is great. This is how God designed it to be. It's a beautiful thing. It's something you should do, something you should want to do, you should be excited about doing, but not before then. I hope that's very clear. It's so simple. So simple. Now the problem. Satan has been about it. They want to disrupt every step of this path. Because even he understands the importance of the marriage relationship. So much space in Scripture is given to the marriage unit, to the family unit, fathers and kids and wives and husbands and all of these things. There's so much real estate in the Bible. They talk about it all the time. Paul couldn't talk enough about the family and how we're supposed to treat each other. They compare the church to a family, the church family. It's a huge deal. So much power in Christianity comes from the family unit. Satan knows that. That's why he hates it. What was one of the first commands that God gave to humans? Who knows their Genesis? Who did he tell it to? Cows? No. Adam and Eve. It's the first thing he did. He creates Adam, creates Eve, you're married, go be fruitful and multiply. That's the first thing he did. It's the first relationship he set up. Of all the things he could have decided to do, he could have done anything. He's God. What does he do? He takes two people, he marries them. That's how it starts. And who's watching? The serpent sitting right there. I don't know when exactly the whole fall thing happened. I wasn't there. But he doesn't like it, is the point. Okay. So something is wrong. Satan's not a stupid guy. Okay? He's been around for a while. He knows what he's doing. And the fact is that a lot of times he doesn't need a lot of help because we have our own stuff that helps him. Okay? The fact of the matter is that roughly every year, 640,000 15 to 19-year-olds get pregnant. Now there's 640,000 boys to go with that. 640,000 pregnancies from people your age. Reduce that down, it ends up being about 1 in 20 every year. Did you know that? It's even scarier. 1 in 4 sexually active teenage girls had some sort of STD. 1 in 4. Something's wrong. Now, of those 640,000-ish every year, it goes up, it goes down. Here's a number that I don't like talking about this, but 157,000 of those are aborted. 157,000 babies in the U.S. that were supposed to be God's kids are aborted because they didn't follow the plan. And that's ugly. That's not including everyone ever. That's just the 15 to 19-year-olds. So, if you add it all up in the United States, roughly every year, there's something like 4 million babies aborted every year. That's ugly. 4 million. Have you ever seen 4 million people in the same spot? Imagine 50 Oakland Coliseums filled. That's about what formatting is. Something's wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. I forget where I was even going. I'm done with that. So the enemy's tactics. He's really good at what he does. Obviously, there's a problem. There's something up here. What did he do? The father of lies. His goal is to get each of us to flip that whole plan that I outlined upside down, inside out, backwards, and shove it back in your face and need you to mess it up any way possible. Because what's the result of that? I had a half number more of those, but you get the picture. Something's wrong. He's doing something right, if that's his goal. The attack can come from outside ourselves, TV, music, movies from this culture, or from within our own weakness. Now I'll pause here. TV, music, movies. How many movies or TV shows or songs have you heard that aren't Christian that promote strong family dynamics? Name a TV show. Tell me the last time you watched a movie where married people had sex. Falling in love. I can't think of it. You listen to music these days? It's ugly. You watch TV? It's ugly. But frankly, throw scripture out here. James 1:4. Temptation comes from our own desires, which entices us and drags us away. You can only blame television and movies and music and all these things to a point. But the fact is that all of these things trigger desires within you that are already there. And when you sin, temptation comes from our own desires, which entices us and drags us away. All of you, I'm sure, have had that feeling where there's something you're about to do, and you know you shouldn't do it, and you're thinking about not doing it, but you go ahead and do it anyway. You're dragged away by your own desires. This is an ugly picture. Here's the plan again. There it is. Okay. Meet, get to know, date, exclusive, engage, marry, pay. No problem with that. So there's three basic ways that you will be pushed to break that plan up. I flashed it up there so you remember it. Now we're going to break it up. The second half is a lot more positive. Hang on. You're all very frowny right now. Hang on. Okay. We're tempted to go out of order. Living together before we're married, having sex before marriage, or anywhere else along the path. We're tempted to go out of order. What do people do? They meet each other. Hey, you want to be my boyfriend? Right? And then now you're together. Or the people who meet each other, like I did, you meet each other, you date, engage, marry, and then you go, wait a second, how do you, and all that part. How do you know this person? Nowadays, it's not uncommon for people to meet and go to bed. They don't remember their names. They don't care. They don't want to know. Tempted to go out of order. Tempted to eliminate steps altogether. Like I said, some people, they don't ever get to know each other. They don't ever stick a bed anywhere in there. But the big one now is they never get married. Why get married? Everyone gets divorced. If you don't get married, you can't get divorced. Woo, we're so smart. Right? That's the big trend now. Just because then when we're done with each other, when we don't feel good about the relationship anymore, we just go our separate ways. And then, hopefully we don't have kids, but if we do, whatever, who cares about them? We kill most of them anyway. Not most of them, a lot of them. And that's why. Okay. And we disrupt each step along the way. We change the meaning of words. I already talked about dating. The definition of dating now. If you say you're dating, it means, you're together. I can't stand it when I hear middle school kids talk about, we're dating. You can't even drive. You're dating. Hey baby, get on the back of my bike.
Hey.
Let's go to Mickey D's. Supersize it, it's on me. Huh? Chuck E. Cheese. I'll make you the burger queen. No, okay. Oh, we're all back. You're supposed to do the chicken yet. I don't want to go back. There we go, okay. Alright. So, the biggest one. They changed the reason behind trying to get a date. This is the biggest stumbling block right here. I'm going to sit here for a minute. Okay? They changed the reason for this relationship. Why did God create the marriage relationship? It's a beautiful thing. It's designed to make each person better than they were before they met. It's designed to make babies. And they're all designed as a unit to do His work. That's what it's for. It's a wonderful thing. But what has the world done? What has Satan done? And what has people's sinful desires done? They've taken it and flipped it over. Where the marriage relationship and dating, whatever you want to call it these days, isn't about edifying our purpose in God. It's about edifying ourselves. It's all about selfish desire. People want to date each other because of who they think the other person makes them. If I can get a pretty girl, that means that I'm good enough. I'm better. See? I have this trophy. Look, everyone. I have a beautiful girl. This means I'm great, right? Right? Look around. Are they looking at her? No, they're looking around. Look, everyone. Same thing with the girl. The more guys you can have chasing you around, the more valuable you are. Because that's what matters. Right from the father of lies. Okay, there's the chicken. See, I wanted to lighten things up as I'm halfway through. We went through the mud. Now we're going to start climbing the other side, okay? That's my chicken. There's a fun story about this chicken. I was driving down Central, right out here, and I stopped the car because I see this chicken in the middle of the street. And she's yelling at all the cars. She's not like that. Everyone stopped. So I looked at my watch, I had time before work, so I said, okay, I got 10 minutes, I'm going to try to catch this chicken. So I pull over, I stop the car, and I go out to the intersection, and it's dodging cars. And then, so I start chasing this chicken down the street from here. And that thing was fast. I mean, I can move if I have to, okay, but the chicken, like, there was no going. So, and everyone's pulling over asking me, is that your chicken? I said, no, it's not. So now I have to catch it, because my chicken's out, right? What am I going to do then? Just leave it. So this other guy's walking down the street. He didn't speak much English, but he looks at me and says, your chicken? I said, yeah, help me. So we're getting this chicken together. Get the corner in the yard. It runs past me, and this guy, like Jedi, bam! Grabs the chicken by the neck. Flips it upside down, holds it by the feet, and hands it to me. So there I am. Holding the chicken. I brought the chicken home. I don't have parents. They don't tell me what to do. So I kept the chicken. I named it Adrian. Because, well, I thought it was a boy. I didn't know. I never had a chicken before. So I was going to name it Rambo. Okay, and then I found out it was a girl because it laid an egg. So I said, okay, Rambo's a girl. Well, Rambo didn't have a wife, but Rocky Balboa did. And her name was Adrian. So that's Adrian the chicken. Okay. She's gone now. God bless her. She was gone. She used to come into my house when I was watching TV and talk to me. Okay. Alright. So here we go. We're going to dump some truth on you this week. So now that we've gone through the mud, we're going to go up the other side. Here's some truth. Obey your parents. Ow! I thought we already talked about this. Obey your parents. Now, I don't want to go all the way back through the whole obey your parents thing. But the fact of the matter is that if you live under their roof, if you spend their money, if you eat their food, burn their gas, ride their bike, eat their Burger King, they get to tell you where to go, what to do. Ultimately, you have to do what they tell you. There's no argument there. Now, in a perfect world, your parents will understand, they will have raised you right, you're a responsible young person, and they will give you freedom in this area up to a point. But ultimately, it's up to them. Now, as I said in that talk, some parents give you a little bit too much freedom. So, I want you to understand the whys behind the whats, and that's what we're going to get into here. So, your value is not based on who you're with or who likes you. It's based on who paid the most for you. Remember the bongo? How do we decide what this bongo is worth? What it sounds like, what it does? How do we decide? How much will somebody pay for it? It's not worth much to someone who doesn't like bongos, is it? They're not going to pay anything for it. How much are you worth? How do we decide that? It's whoever paid the most for you. The last time I checked, the Son of the God of the universe came down to earth and shed his blood to buy your soul at a price. No one else could do that. It's the highest price anyone can pay. That makes you pretty valuable. So in light of that, Son of God, universe creator, spoke the world, universe, and all that into existence. He says you're valuable. Why would you run after some girl to prove how valuable you are? Why would you want some boy to come and tell you you're pretty just so you feel valuable? You think that impresses him? No. Your value is given to you by your Creator. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. There's nobody to impress. Except him. Now girls, listen. You are no one's trophy. None of you. No one's trophy but his. Now, a good godly husband would gladly parade you around as the most awesome wife ever. But it's not for his glory. You're not his trophy. You're the trophy that God let him borrow for a while. It's a big difference. Alright. You don't need to change anything about yourself to get a date. Or find. You don't need to have this back here. And this up here, and this over here, and this here. You don't need to change the places you go, the music you listen to, the way you walk, the sports you play, the hobbies you have. You don't need to conform. Because I'll tell you what, here's a newsflash. The world wants you to fit into this little mold right here. And the funniest thing, this is what kills me, is that even the people who don't fit the mold, fit a mold. The ones who are trying to look like a rebel, where do they get their clothes? They're packed somewhere, like all the other rebels. Same. Right? Because the problem is, if you believe that your identity comes from who you're with, you're going to be willing to do anything to yourself to get that. I can tell you that. When I was 19, I was what's known as a chameleon. I could be this guy over here, and that guy over here, and this guy over here. With my friends, I was this way. With these friends, I was that way. With girls, I was an idiot. With my parents, I was a responsible young man. In school, I was a bookworm. I wasn't good at it, but I really tried. All these people, and I couldn't tell you which one I actually was. I don't know. Because I was trying to change everything about myself, not just to get a date, but to get approval from anyone. That sucks. No one told me about the bongo. Did I do the hair and this up there, that back there? Girls, I'll say this again, girls. You don't need to be skinny to get a date. Okay? I know that's out there. You don't. If you can't find someone who likes you for who you are, they're not worth dating anymore. Because I got news for you. Everyone ends up old and ugly. Every one of you. And you're gonna sit there with your elderly husband and look at old pictures of yourself, saying, "Oh, that's when I used to be valuable. Now I'm worthless." No. You want a guy who finds you beautiful for who you are and will continue to find you more beautiful as you grow closer to where it is you're going to end up going. You don't need to be skinny. Alright. I'll get off of that. Someone's got to say it. Okay. If you don't get a lot of attention from the opposite sex, don't sweat it. This is so painful for young people. By the age of 16, 46% of your peers have been in the sack of someone. 46%. Your peers, people you go to school with, people you see with, 46%. By 18, that number is up to 74, 76. By the time you're 24, it's 89. 89%. Yikes. And a lot of those are multiple. It's not just the first time. It's once you have the first time, who knows? They lose track. You can't even count that. And that is going to hit most of you. A lot of you are homeschooled. Some of you are public school. You're probably hearing it already. But those of you who are homeschooled, you're going to go to college. And even a Christian college, kind of. You're going to be surrounded by this. The percentages might not be as high, but they're still going to be high. There's going to be people hooking up left and right. They meet, go to bed, don't know the name, don't care. I was drunk, whatever. And if you happen to be this guy or this gal, you don't get a lot of attention from the opposite sex, believe me, it's a blessing. Because when you're that age, it might not be the greatest thing. We already talked about all that. Okay, but here's the thing. You're going to be sitting there questioning your value. Those of you who decide right now, right here, to stick to the plan that I told you about, you're going to be sitting there, you will be the odd person, and you will wonder, why am I different? How come no one's giving me attention? Everyone around me is having sex with me. I'm worthless. That's what's going to be in here. I'll tell you right now. Where does that come from? That's not in the Bible. The Bible calls you wise for doing that. Those statistics I brought up earlier call you wise for doing that. So, how many of you have heard of this concept before? A pre-decision. 1, 2, you ever heard this? Okay. Pre-decision, okay? My loose definition of this, don't look it up. A decision made ahead of time in order to prevent poor decisions in moments of weakness. This requires a lot of self-evaluation. Everybody's pre-decisions will look kind of different. Because you're all different people. We all have different weaknesses. Not all of you will be tempted in the same ways. But a pre-decision is a barrier of protection that you put around yourself. So that when your own feelings and your own desires are tempting you to run away, you've already got this thing solid in your mind. I will do this, I won't do that. That's as far as I go. Okay, so what level should you be at right now? I know this is the question you've been waiting to get to. So I drew the chart. Where should you be? Again, it's up to your parents ultimately, but I'm going to tell you where I think all of you should be. With the exception of adults and married people. Okay. Teens. With the exception of a couple of you, you should should all be in the get to know you phase. Sorry to break your bubbles. There should be none of you right yet who are in the dating phase. With the exception of some of you who are later in the high school years, early in the college years, as long as that's okay, for who's funding your life right now, I would say you could probably start dating. But again, the definition of dating is very specific. You're not living together, you're not going to bed together, you're not exclusive together, you're not tying a knot, you're not committed. It's an exploratory phase. Okay? Now, don't be angry at me because I said you're in the get to know you phase. This is good. Because I know a lot of people would say, don't talk to boys. Don't even talk to girls. Don't even look at them. Stuff is going to jump off them. They'll make you stupid if you just walk by them. You don't even breathe. Hold your breath, close your eyes, try to remember where the sidewalk was. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. The get to know you phase is getting to know you. You're all getting to know each other right now. Congratulations, you're in that phase. You're here. You're talking to people. You're making friends. You're making acquaintances. You're figuring out what personalities work, which ones don't, what you like, what you don't like. You're thinking about who you might want to date when that time comes. That's where you should be. I'll get to more of the why behind this in a second. But let's get here now. Physical limits. Yikes. Okay, someone's got to talk about this. It's awkward. I know. Stay with me. Try not to giggle too much. Giggling is a defense mechanism. Try to stay with me. Okay? Physical limitations. Now, we already know where the bed comes in. Okay? That's a very specific area. What do we do before the bed? I'll tell you mine. I don't think it's appropriate for me to touch a girl below here. Right now. Married people, handshake. That's it. Good luck getting a hug out of me. Once in a while, maybe. But it'll be awkward at best. Okay? That's physical limits for me. For you guys, it should be pretty much the same. And I'll tell you why. It's not that touching somebody on the leg is a sin. It's not the problem. The problem is, like we said, this is a free decision. You set barriers around yourself to keep you from going off the edge. Okay? And the fact of the matter is, especially at your age, when your blood is just teeming with all kinds of hormones and you're going crazy, the slightest touch in the wrong place can set off something in here that is very hard to put the brakes on. Very hard. What is it? It's our own temptations that drag us away. It's not Satan. He doesn't grab your hand and make you do stuff. Okay. Again, these are all in different places for everyone. You have to know your weakness. You have to know your tendencies, your boundaries. But I can tell you as an example, if you are dating, if you're exclusive, if you're engaged, it may not be the best idea for you to go to each other's houses and watch romantic movies in the dark on the couch alone. Right? You're not in bed. What's wrong with that? Have you all heard the phrase, one thing led to another? That's the world's way of saying, my own lust drugged me away. I couldn't stop. You have to be wise. That's why I write red letters up there. Well, red letters. It says self-evaluation. You have to continually ask yourself, where am I? Is this too far for me? And I'll tell you what. Okay, let's go over here for a second. Especially girls, but everybody. If your partner in this is not willing to respect that boundary, get rid of them. That's it. That's my advice right now. If you say no, 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 and they say yes, 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 you say go, go, go. It's clever. That's why you laugh. It's clever. Snug up on you. Because if they're not willing to respect your boundary when you're dating, what are they going to do when you're married to them? are they going to get married to you? Which boundaries are they going to follow and not? They might say your boundaries are ridiculous, but if they respect you and love you enough, they'll respect your boundaries too. I would encourage you to set some that might sound ridiculous. See if they follow. They try to push on. Okay. Emotional limits. Here's the big one. Okay, I said this last time. I thought about apologizing for it, but instead of that, I'm going to say it again. Okay? You're all teenagers, and by nature, you're idiots. Okay? I'm sorry. There, I apologize.
You're idiots, alright.
You are supposed to be, okay? You're not grown up yet. You're still learning things. You might think you know everything, but you have a long way to go. Okay? You're developing your decision-making processes. You're trying to figure out who this guy upstairs is. You're trying to figure out who you are. You're trying to figure out what job you want, what education you like. There's so much growth and change happening. How on earth can you expect to maintain any kind of significant emotional attachment to another person when you're like this? You can't. And what happens? Is any of you good with target shooting? So what? If you got a pistol and the thing's 100 yards away, you just start shooting at it. You're not going to hit it. You're not going to hit it. You can't even see it yet. Like, I think it's over. You're not going to get a bullseye, I'll tell you that. You got to wait till you get closer, because when you're that far out, when you're not who you are yet, connect these dots. Even the slightest pull in one direction or another can change your trajectory in the long run by an incredible amount. That's why I can't stand these middle schoolers getting into these deep emotional relationships. Some of them going to bed already. That takes the gun and just go, and they're shooting everybody else except them. And this also is under the self-evaluation portion of this. Only you know when you are enough of yourself to where I know I'm not going to get pulled off course by this relationship. That's the mistake I made. Okay? I didn't know who I was. I wasn't even there yet. So someone came along and pulled me way over here. That's why I lost jobs, I lost friends, I lost parents, lost direction. That's why there's still things right now in my life that aren't quite right, that I can't fix. Consequences. Know yourself well enough to know when you're ready. And a big part of this is having people around you who can tell you when you're ready. A lot of times you're not even going to know. You have to ask people, do you think I'm ready? People you trust and know and respect and love. Am I ready to date? Do you think I'm ready? And if they say, I don't think so, then don't. Okay, moving on. Personal limits. There's the word. I'm going to do it. Personal limits. Statistically speaking, I know we're a Christian crowd. Statistically speaking, everyone in this room has been exposed to this in some form already. There is a segment of the people in this crowd right now who are exposed to it regularly by their own will. This is so dangerous. So dangerous. Because I'll tell you what's happening. You're taking something, this beautiful relationship that God has set up, something that's glorious, and you're unplugging it, and you're taking it over here, and you're plugging it in to something that's perverse and completely selfish. And the trouble is, later on, you think, I'm just going to plug that, put it right back over there. You can't do it. Once you go down that way, this is incredibly hard to get straight again. Guarantee you that. It is a poison for that whole plan up there. It's a poison. So if that's you, for God's sake, stop. If you need help, talk to me when no one else is around. And I'll talk please don't ignore that word. It's an ugly word. Okay, moving on. Who will you date? I know you're waiting for this one too. Yeah. Get that word off of there. It's making everybody all frown. Here we go. All right. How many of you know this word? Criteria? Debaters in the crowd? No criteria. Okay. Did I pronounce it correctly? This is my definition. Now, all these are mine, so I can't be wrong. Okay? My definitions, it's a rubber ruler. I'm never wrong. Okay. I consider this a non-negotiable standard for choosing a partner as it applies to the dating world. My criteria. Okay? These are, again, pre-decisions, but a very specific category of pre-decision. And I'm going to give you my criteria for who I'm willing to date and who I'm not. Pay attention closely, because I recommend you adopt the exact same ones. Okay. Number one, they must be a born-again believer producing fruit. That is huge. The Bible says very specifically, do not be unequally yoked. Because you will find some very pretty, very nice, altogether, very collected, moral, gosh, she does community service, she's all of these things. She's a Muslim, but she's so great, she's this, and she makes me feel, she doesn't meet the criteria. There will be other ones who say, yeah, I'm a Christian. Yeah, totally. I grew up in a church. I grew up in a Baptist church, and Dad's a preacher. Yeah, I know all about that, all Jesus stuff. But they don't do anything. You wouldn't know if you just, if you watched them. If you stalked them, don't stalk girls. If you did, you wouldn't see any fruit in their life. You wouldn't know, are they actually saved, or is this just something they grew up with that's going to fall apart? So that's my criteria. Born again from producing. Not just because that's what Jesus told us to do. That's good enough reason on its own, but because it makes sense. Okay? My Christian walk is something that my life is based on. Everything about me, ideally, I'm working towards this, okay? But everything about me is based on my relationship with my Savior. How on earth can I develop a strong emotional attachment to somebody whose foundation is somewhere else? We're not even standing on the same rock. What's she going to think of me spending every Sunday at church, every Wednesday night with you, Bible studies in the morning, reading my scriptures all day? Am I going to feel comfortable praying for dinner with her? Can you see all these things? That's assuming that the other person is okay with it. What if they're hostile towards it? There's plenty who grow that way. They'll pretend to like your religion just because you're pretty. Girls. I personally know a boy who did that. He attended a Bible study for almost a year. A year. Because Chelsea Allen was in the Bible study class. A year. That's dedication. They'll talk, they'll walk the walk, they'll try to make you think they're as Christian as anybody else. Hallelujah! Woo! They clap on the time, everything. They'll get it down. Just to get to you. It's crazy, but it's true. Look out. You'll find out later on, you're sick of your religion. Here's another one. Wow, there's so many gems in this talk. Girls especially, okay, a lot directed at you. Don't think that just because this guy has everything else going for him, that you can then get him saved and start dating him. I'm going to save this guy so I can date him. You're laughing, but it's true. Mark my words. You can hear what I just said in your head when that happens later. And you can call me and say, whoever, you were right. And I'll go, yeah. All right? Criteria number 2. They must not be involved in willful, sinful behavior. Possible with born-again, fruit-bearing Christians to have some very big bad wolves going on that they need to deal with before they are dateable. I've been there. own garbage to take out before I would consider myself dead. There's a lot of you that have some trash to take out. Because the last thing you want to do is meet somebody and invite them in to sit on your pile of garbage. And the last thing you want to do is go in and sit on someone else's pile of garbage. For example, if you meet a lovely young lady whose habit it is to go out on Friday nights and punch old ladies and then take a selfie over them while they're laying on the ground. They're not sorry, unrepentant, I don't care, it's what I like to do, it's who I am. She'll be fine, she deserved it anyway. That's a problem. That's an extreme example, obviously, you're all laughing. You can see where I'm going now, okay? Unrepentant, I'm not sorry for this, I'll do what I want. God, He can't have this. Now, honestly, we all have that little nook inside of ourselves that we don't quite let God into. And that's a process throughout our lives of growing in our relationship, handing more and more and more of ourselves over. But I'm talking about big, blatant, blaring stuff. Okay? It's a big difference. Okay. Now here, icing on the cake. You're going to love this one. Number 3, people I trust must approve. When I moved out of the house, and I moved in with this girl, my best friend came to the house, came to the door, and he told me, Ryan, this isn't good. She's not good for you. This is wrong. You can't do this. I love you. He told me, my best friend came to me and said, I love you. And I shut the door on him. To this day, that relationship hasn't, this is how long? 12 years later. And we're still not really cool. Still working on that. My dad, the guy that was here, the tie-dye guy, happy guy, came to the door in tears, trying to get me back. I shut it on him. People you love, who know you best, will come to you. Hopefully they will. I pray that they will. And they'll tell you, you're messing up. Listen to them. For God's sake, listen to them. I wish I had. It would save me a lot of trouble. Listen to them. People you care about will be led by the Spirit to come and dump some truth on you once in a while. Don't shut them out. That's hard. What I would do, tell them ahead of time. If I could go back and tell my dad something, I would say, Dad, get a rope. Get some duct tape. Get it ready, because I'm going to do some really stupid crap in a couple of years. Practice your 12 inches, go to the rodeo, figure out how all that works, because I'm big, right? Get me down, duct tape me up, drag me, get me out of there. Yeah. People you trust will tell you the truth. Listen to them for God's sake. It might be your parents, it might be your friends, it might be me. I don't care. Listen to them. Okay? So, on the other end of it, if you've got a girl or a guy and you really like them and you're thinking about, you're in the dating part and you're like, I'm thinking about, let's get more serious, we're going to get exclusive. This is later on, of course, not right now because you're in the get to know you phase. But later on, ask your friends, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of this girl? Ask your parents, do you like it? Do you like it? It's very important. Because here's some scientific fact for you. When you're in the first stages of a very serious emotional attachment, your brain is flooded with all kinds of chemicals that cloud your judgment. That can last up to 2 years. They call that the honeymoon phase. Have you heard that? People love each other for a couple of years, and all of a sudden they hate each other. What happened? Because those chemicals wear off. So your judgment's not going to be, you'll be willing to ignore a lot of things that maybe you shouldn't. You won't see some stuff, big red flags. You're willing to ignore it, explain it, because I understand him, I love him, I'll change him. I don't know why I put a him in there. Same thing with the guys. Look to the people that you trust. Okay. Moving on. All the other things are preferences, not disqualifiers. You can have any number of things past that you prefer, you not. Height, weight, hair color, eye color, hobbies, likes, dislikes, music, Favorite food, favorite color. Right? That's the part where Facebook stalking comes in handy because you can look at all their stuff and see what they like, right? I know, you do it. Okay. None of these in my mind are disqualifiers. They're not things that are of that much importance. Now, if I've got nothing in common with someone, and we don't even like the same foods, and I can't stand the music she listens to, she has a dumb car, so all these things add up, the chances are I'm probably not even going to be interested in the date in the first place. You want it to be attracted to people that you're not interested in. It's kind of, it works itself out, but don't stress about it. I wouldn't recommend sitting down and writing on a 100-point list of all the things you want and hate. You'll never find it. You'll be very single. Very single. Alright. Looks like obvious job, money. Okay, job. He's gotta have this, he's gotta have that. What if God wants you to be with a poor missionary in Africa? And you're stuck on, what kind of job he has and don't sweat it. If you got the first three right, the rest of them really can't stop you. Okay. Final note. Girls, guys you can listen to. You are so pressured into turning yourself into some kind of trophy for some boy to display proudly. Now, a godly man will surely proudly display you, but not for his own glory, only for God's glory. You are no one's trophy with Christ. I said that before, and I wish I could say it every day to you. Alright, the question is, here's the biggie. Does this person love me for who I am? Or do they love me for who they think I am with them? Is this relationship a mutual thing designed to make both of us better for His glory? Or is it a selfish thing designed to make each individual better for their own? Here's my advice to you. I've said this directly to some of you before. Okay? God is preparing someone out there right now to be your husband or to be your wife. Trust Him and let Him be in charge. Wait. Now, there is the exception here and there. There are people who are called to singleness, as Paul mentions in his epistles, right? The vast majority of you are not. But there is somebody alive, probably right now. You might be here, they might be not. You might know them, you might not. But they are getting ready to be your spouse. They are learning how to be your spouse. Hopefully there's someone like me telling them the same thing right now. It'd be awesome. But don't go and mess up His plan by letting some boy who tells you you're pretty run off with you. Don't let some girl, just because she's pretty, run off with your brain and drag you down the road like a pit bull with a dog with a chew point, right? No. Don't do that. Okay. Wait. So again, I want to go back to my first thing that I said to them. And that is, are you willing tonight to let Christ be in charge of what you do with your body, when you do that, and who you do it with? I am. Just me? I'm ready. Come on, don't be shy. And we all made salvation decisions at some point, hopefully. If you haven't, talked to me later, I'll give you that too. Okay? Like I said, the decisions you make around this subject are second to that, the most significant ones you will make in your life. Don't get caught with your head on backwards. Now, I've been recording this whole thing because I know it's long. I'm going to put it on YouTube. So if you want to hear it again, you want to hear it 3 times, 4 times, as many times as it takes, so you get this stuff. I'll give you a link next week once I figure out how to do all that. I'm not really, I'm not really good at it. The point is, God has a plan for your life, okay? And you've made that decision. Now, something that came to mind today. What if you mess this up? I know there's a lot of pressure on you, especially as the good Christian kids, to do everything right every time. Now, I put a lot of pressure on you tonight to get this right. It's very, very, very important. If it's at all possible in your life to get it right, for God's sake, do it. If you need help, find someone to help you. But the fact is that some of you will mess this up. Simple fact. Fortunately, okay, should have shut this. Fortunately, we have a God who has a plan. Okay? And you know where I'm going. He made us a promise. He made us a promise that He will work all things together for good. For those who love Him and follow His. Right? You all know the verse. That's a direct promise. There's nothing you can do so wrong in this whole thing that He can't turn around and make it into something good. I'm an example standing in front of you. Okay? Okay, so you made it. Well, the last part that I was just getting into there was the aspect of grace in all this. This standard and these things that I'm putting forward, this is not easy. Okay, anytime that you're emotionally wrapped up and there's things triggering you, pulling you in a certain direction, the reality of it is that we're human and we're not going to be perfect. And there are members in that audience, and there's those of you who aren't going to get this totally perfect. And you have to understand that though God wants us to strive for that perfection, we have to understand that we can always rest in His grace to make up the difference. He promises that He will make all things work together for good. We just have to trust in that. We have to hold on to that promise. And though we can mess up huge, we can blow our life up, and we won't understand in the moment how God can use this for good. But the fact is, we can see it right there in that video. You're looking at me. I blew a lot of things up, and God is using that for incredible good here, because now all of these people get to hear my story, and they can learn from it and hopefully make better decisions than I did. That's the good that's coming from it. So it's crucial for these kids, for whatever parents are listening, and for whatever kids are listening, to just understand that if it's at all possible, do everything you can, put everything in place, make those pre-decisions if you can, but understand that there's a safety net of grace underneath you. And no matter how bad you fail or how awful you think you might be, there is help out there, there's grace out there, and there is another day after that. And God promises to work all this together for you. So again, thank you for watching, and again, you can comment below if you want any more information, any questions, if you want me to email you the transcripts, the notes, the PowerPoint. I'm totally willing to do that. Just give me a call, and I'll see you soon. God bless.